Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the inauguration of the Youth in Evaluation Forum 2026. Please note, at first we wanted to tell you that you can turn on the auto captions in Zoom and select your language if you prefer to hear in a language other than English. Some languages are available. My name is Khalil Bitar. I am the president of the International Organization for Cooperation and Evaluation. Some of you know it as IUCE, and co-founder and former chair of EvalYouth Global Network. It is my honor to serve as your moderator today for this milestone annual event for the Eval for Action campaign. Today's inauguration follows a visual journey we are very excited to share with you. We call it the growing tree. If you see already in our background, you see a tree starting. This is the growing tree metaphor that we will use for the youth in evaluation movement itself. Because this movement is like a tree, is organic, grounded, and constantly expanding. Across the next 90 minutes we have together, you'll see our virtual background evolving from a sprout to a flourishing tree, each stage marking a different dimension of the youth in evaluation movement. We begin where every tree begins, the roots, the foundational intent that anchors the youth in evaluation leadership as essential for the future of evaluation. As many of you know, the Eval for Action campaign, now it's in 6th year. And it's called by the UNFPA Independent Evaluation Office, the EvalYouth Global Network, the Global Parliamentarian Forum for Evaluation, and IUCE. I am joined today by my fellow Eval for Action co-leaders. First, Joel Renstorm, Director of the UNFPA Independent Evaluation Office. Anna Erika Larissa, EvalYouth Global Chair, and Honorable Kabir Hashem, Global Parliamentarian Forum for Evaluation Chair. Hi everyone and welcome, thank you for joining. And today we begin this 3-day forum. So today we start with this launch, but we have 3-day forum and with a very important theme to all of us. The theme is centering youth leadership in shaping the future of evaluation. Something that is very important for the Eval for Action campaign with the youth aspect and the future of evaluation aspect. This is the 4th consecutive year where we are holding this Youth in Evaluation annual celebration. And today together with you, with young and emerging evaluators, experienced evaluators, regional partners, national and regional associations, VOBIs, and global stakeholders across the globe, we celebrate the 2026 Youth in Evaluation Champions. As you know, we do this annually, and also we want to advance dialogue on centering youth in evaluation leadership in shaping the future of our field together. And this is just the start. Later on, we will share with you, we have 30 more regional and national partner-led events that will be held over the next 2 days with 9 languages and in 9 different regions. So you will see my background now that rechanged a little bit, which is nice. Let's begin with a formal welcome from the UNFPA Independent Evaluation Office Director, Mr. Joel Renstorm, who is also co-leader of Eval for Action and will introduce us to this event and the work of Eval for Action. Joel, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Khalil. Colleagues and friends from across the globe, welcome. It's very exciting to see the global evaluation community gathered here today. We're here for one defining reason: to ensure that the future of evaluation is not just for youth, but by youth. This forum marks a milestone as we celebrate the 6th anniversary of the Eval for Action campaign. What began as a call to accelerate influential evaluation has evolved into a global movement with youth at the steering wheel. The UNFPA Independent Evaluation Office is deeply honored to co-lead this campaign alongside Eval Youth Global Network, the IOCE, the GPFE, and now bolstered by an incredible alliance of 175 partners worldwide. For UNFPA, youth participation is not an elective or something optional. It's a core pillar of how we conduct and deliver high quality and credible evaluations. This commitment to intergenerational inclusion is a growing sentiment across the evaluation community. To guide this journey, the Eval for Action campaign launched the Youth in Evaluation Manifesto, which serves as our high-level pledge to take action to advance young people's participation in evaluation. We are now turning that pledge into practice through the Youth in Evaluation standards, which provide the actual roadmap for organizations to move from making promises to delivering meaningful change for young people in evaluation. Today, we see these standards come to life as we recognize those leading by example. The ultimate proof of this progress is the Youth in Evaluation Champion Awards, which honor organizations that have institutionalized these standards. I'm delighted that during the forum's inauguration today, Eval Youth will officially announce the third cohort of Youth in Evaluation Champions. These organizations have moved beyond tokenism to prove that inclusive evaluation is not just possible, it is powerful. By aligning their evaluation work with global standards, these organizations are ensuring that evaluation remains agile, future-ready, and rooted in the perspectives of the next generation. The momentum doesn't stop here. Following today's inauguration of the forum, we will transition into 2 full days featuring 30 events that link local action to global strategies across every region. I hope you all will use this forum to catalyze action, strengthen global solidarity, and position young evaluators as the key architects of the future of evaluation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Joel. And as you said, 6 years and 175 partners later, we can see this movement has a real ground under it. And today is about building on that. Thanks a lot. And now, to officially kick off this year's forum, we are pleased to share a recorded message from Ms. Diane Kita, Executive Director of UNFPA, who has long championed inclusive leadership and meaningful youth engagement.
Hello, young evaluators. My greetings to you and to everyone joining from across the globe. It is an honor to address the Youth in Evaluation Forum. Youth participation is key to delivering results that save and transform lives. UNFPA is committed to putting young people at the center of our mission and at the center of the data and evidence underpinning it. Because young people are not simply beneficiaries of development. They are essential partners in building the world we envision. The Youth in Evaluation movement helps ensure that policies reflect the lived experiences of young people. This is how we make sure progress is inclusive and benefits all generations. With young evaluators like you leading the way, we can ensure that evaluation remains agile and relevant in a rapidly changing world. Your generation confronts daunting challenges, yet your passion and desire to make the world a better place are assets to the evaluation community, helping promote accountability and good governance. As young evaluators, your critical minds and sense of curiosity can redefine the boundaries of what is possible and ensure the evaluation profession remains fit for the world you inherited. Over the next 3 days of dialogue, I urge you to be bold and innovative. Use this platform to strengthen global solidarity and to shape an evaluation system that is youth-led and future-ready. At UNFPA, we know that evaluation is the bridge between intention and impact. So let us move forward together with purpose and ambition. Thank you for your commitment and for your partnership. I wish you all the best in your deliberations.
Many thanks to Ms. Kieta for that powerful opening. It's really important, this framing she offered to us, that young people are not simply beneficiaries of programs and initiatives, but change makers, innovators, and partners in building the world we all want to see, and setting exactly the tone for what we really want to discuss during this forum. And the call she made for young evaluators to be bold and innovative and to shape an evaluation system that is youth-led and future-ready is a charge that this community, I believe, is ready to take up. So it is from the intention to impact in a strong way. And now I am honored to share our opening keynote, a recording message from Dr. Philippe Paulier, who is the United Nations Assistant Secretary General for Youth Affairs and head of the UN Youth Office. Dr. Paulier carries a unique mandate, ensuring young people are not only heard, but also well positioned as architects of the global agenda.
Hi everyone, my name is Felipe Polier and I serve as the United Nations Assistant Secretary General for Youth Affairs and head of the United Nations Youth Office, an office that was established by the General Assembly to advance youth affairs across the UN system and beyond. It is my pleasure to participate in the Youth in Evaluation Forum 2026, and I sincerely thank the organizers, particularly the UNFPA Independent Evaluation Office, the Eval Youth Global Network, and the Global Parliamentarians Forum for Evaluation, and the International Organization for Cooperation in Evaluation, for the kind invitation to join you today. At a time when 2.6 billion young people between the ages of 15 and 35 live in the world, the urgency to invest and to listen to and to partner with youth has never been greater. Across every region, young people are driving change and are advancing solutions to some of the world's most pressing challenges, from climate change to inequality to conflicts and human rights violations. And to accelerate progress on the Sustainable Development Goals, we must harness this energy and we must ensure that young people, in all of their diversity, can meaningfully shape the decisions that affect their lives and futures. This includes the field of evaluation. Meaningful youth engagement must be embedded throughout evaluation processes, not only as participants, but as co-creators of evidence, of accountability, and of decision-making. Spaces such as this forum are then essential to advancing that vision at the global, regional, national, and local level. So, as you move forward, allow me to offer 3 brief recommendations. The first one, I encourage you to make use of these newly launched core principles for meaningful youth participation that were launched a few weeks ago by the United Nations to really make participation a key priority across intergovernmental processes and across the work of the whole of the United Nations. Developed through collaboration among member states, among UN entities, and especially among youth organizations, these principles provide an important framework for strengthening inclusive, representative, and meaningful engagement across the whole UN system. The second, I want to encourage you to leverage Youth 2030, the United Nations system-wide youth strategy, which serves as a common framework for more than 60 UN entities and all of the 132 UN country teams working with and working for young people. The Youth 2030 strategy remains a valuable tool for advancing approaches that engage youth as equal partners every step on the way. And finally, I urge you to move from dialogue to action. Young people are not waiting to be included, they are already leading the change, often against all of the odds. What they need us is for genuine partnership, for support, and for opportunities to scale their impact. So let us lead by example and make meaningful youth participation the norm in all of our evaluation processes. So on behalf of the United Nations Youth Office, I want to say we stand ready to support your efforts, and I wish you a very successful forum ahead. Thank you very much. Muchas gracias.
Many thanks to Dr. Polier for that really strong message that I hope resonates with a lot of us, all of us. The three calls he placed before us, anchoring meaningful youth participation in the UN core principles, leveraging Youth 2030 as a system-wide framework, and moving from rhetoric to action. And note that our campaign is called Eval for Action, gives this forum a clear orientation. And the message he offered that young people are not waiting to be included, that they are already driving change, something that sometimes we miss, but one that we will carry forward across the next 2 days. So this is a great start. And now we move to the next part. And, we start with the rising SAP of youth in evaluation for evaluation, youth in the future of evaluation. And if roots represent the foundation intent of the youth in evaluation movement, as we mentioned, the rising SAP is what gives the young tree its energy, the upward momentum that turns this intention into growth, intention into impact. In this section, we hear from people who carry that energy, young people and young evaluators specifically, whose perspectives are fueling innovation in our field today in many different areas, many different regions where they come from. But before we hear from our colleagues, which we are excited to hear from, we thought we want to hear from you, our audience, our colleagues who are attending with us the inauguration today. We're now launching a Zoom poll and invite each of you to share your opinion and your views, because it's also very important to us, and to hear from you about the greatest opportunities for youth in evaluation today. So the question we have is, where do you see the greatest opportunity for youth to influence in the evaluation today? As I read it, I see already 15 and more colleagues have participated. This is great. And I see also the figures are changing, but we have a clear winner. Let's see. And perhaps we give you all a couple of minutes, but the option we have in front of us is that youth greatest opportunity to influence evaluation is in designing evaluation, or is it in data collection and field work, or is decision making and policy influence, advocacy and accountability, and capacity building and learning. I know it's a tough one because you might want to select more than one, but if you also have other comments, please add them. And I see already perhaps half of our colleagues who are in attendance have already responded. That's a good response. With just a couple of seconds rather to reveal the results. And of course, please do share in the chat if you have any comments on these. And also I want to say to our colleagues watching us on LinkedIn, because the event is also broadcasted on LinkedIn, we see you. And please write your answers in the comments and engage. Actually, it's really good because it's something that we also will follow up on, and a conversation that will continue. So I see some on the chat, which is great. But now I see that we have many colleagues who are answering the decision making and policy influence as something really important. Although I see also that designing evaluation is very important, capacity building and learning. It seems what I hear from you that youth in evaluation have many great opportunities to influence the field, which I think this is great, and this energy we'll take with us as well. Thanks a lot for that. So with that, really great that we have these answers, and these responses give us a clear sense of where the audience locate the energy for charge, and that energy is exactly what the next speakers carry. Each will share a lightning perspective specifically on where youth add the most value in evaluation in a complex world. So it's really nice to see from different regions, from different colleagues. And let me invite them one by one who will share their lighting perspective, and then we hear their wisdom and their experience. First, we hear from our colleague Stefan Paulson, who is Emerging Evaluator Program Coordinator at the South African Monitoring and Evaluation Association. And Stefan will share with us his lighting perspective. Stefan, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Halil. Good day, everyone. It's truly an honor to be part of this initiative and to share space alongside so many passionate young evaluators from across the world. When we speak about youth, adding the most value to evaluations in a complex world, I believe the answer is not only our technical abilities, our innovation, or even our energy. Our greatest value is our proximity to live realities. Young people are often the first to experience the consequences of failing systems, unemployment, exclusion, climate change, and even broken promises. But at the same time, we're also the ones imagining alternatives, mobilizing communities, creating movements, and also demanding accountability. That position gives young emerging evaluators something incredibly important: perspective. We understand what it means to navigate systems that weren't always designed with us in mind. And because of that, we are uniquely positioned to ask deeper evaluation questions. For me, evaluation is not only about evidence, it's also about justice. Because data without humanity can easily become disconnected from people and what it's meant to serve. And in a world that's increasingly complex, polarized, and unequal, evaluations must become more participatory, more inclusive, and more grounded in real human experiences. Ultimately, evaluation should not only tell us what happened yesterday, but it also should also help us shape a more equitable tomorrow. So, as young emerging evaluators, let us continue to bring courage into spaces that needs honesty, compassion into systems that often feel impersonal, and hope into conversations about the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Stefan. Well said. You know, our colleagues in the production, they told me before, after each young and emerging evaluator speaker share with us their points, is to try to find a highlight. But in your short intervention, I feel I just want to repeat everything. It's really, really good. It resonates very much. I love this focus on evaluation is not about only about evidence, but about justice, and how, as evaluators, we and young evaluators especially, and our proximity to the field and the real issues, complex issues that people are faced with, is sometimes as important, if not more important, than the technical know-how in a very rigid way. Thanks a lot. That's great. And now we move to our colleague Nino Shuhili, who is Eval Youth Global Management Group member representing Eastern Europe and Central Asia. Nino, the floor is yours.
Yes, thanks, Khalil. Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to join you today at the opening of this important evaluation event. So young people, as already mentioned, are not just learners, they're innovators, they're critical thinkers and essential partners. In a world defined by rapid change and interconnected crises, I believe they add distinct value in several ways. First, it's a critical inquiry. Young people enter the field without established habits or institutional loyalty to existing frameworks, and that enables more honest questioning of assumptions. They dig deeper, they ask uncomfortable questions, complementing the wisdom and rigor that experience brings. Second, it's a methodological openness. Young professionals enter the field at the moment of exciting methodological evolution with eagerness to engage complexity-aware and participatory approaches and digital fluency that is increasingly essential for modern evaluation practice. And the third, adaptability to uncertainty. Young professionals, I would say, began their careers during overlapping crises such as COVID, conflicts, climate. Navigating uncertainty is not an exception for this generation, I would say, and that shapes how they approach complexity in ways that are increasingly valuable to our field. What I can say about our region, Eastern Europe, Central Asia, and South Caucasus, this energy is visible. From the Bishkek Evaluation Forum from last year to the first steps towards a national evaluation association in Moldova, and to Hub Eval at the University of Georgia, which is taking an important step forward in establishing evaluation as a recognized profession within academia through active collaboration and with local new practitioners. The evaluation community is growing, and so is the role of youth within it. Meaningful youth engagement requires intention, mentorship, and willingness to share power. When that happens, evaluations become richer and our work becomes stronger. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Nino. Very important points. Again, it's really amazing what our colleagues are sharing from their experience. I know there is with lots of experience and had the pleasure of working with some of them. Youth and yeas are critical thinkers in a field that is based on a critical inquiry. Very, very, very much resonates. And the fact that we are living in this time of, complexity, uncertainty, cut of funding in so many places, it is very important. And AI, I expect somebody will say about it too, and how it's affecting our world. But I really appreciate also the focus on and willingness to share power. And we see in places and organization where leadership is visionary and willing to invest in youth and benefit from their expertise, it makes a huge difference. Thanks a lot, Nino. And with that, now we hear from our colleague Kian Ashraf Rashid, who's a global engagement strategy and initiative liaison of the Youth in Eval Youth Network or in North America. And Eval Youth North America chapter, we also call them. Kian, the floor is
Thank
yours.
you so much, Khalil. Now, my name is Kian Ashraf, and as Khalil said, I'm representing today Eval Youth North America, where I serve as the Global Engagement Strategy and Initiatives Manager. I currently work as a monitoring, evaluation, and learning officer at Right to Play. I do want to start with something I think many evaluators have seen. In evaluation, we make sure that we contact communities, we make sure that we speak with young people honestly, the data is collected, and to make sure that reports are written effectively so that funds are coming effectively and at the same time needs are addressed. But at the same time, we need to address needs and issues that evaluation is facing, which is sometimes reports they sit in folders, they sit in inboxes and unfinished events. That is the gap I keep thinking about. And in this complex world, the problem is not always that we lack evidence. Sometimes the problem is that the evidence does not move or travel properly. This is where youth add significant value to evaluation. Young people understand how information moves today. People are not waiting for a final report to understand what is happening in their communities. They are learning through phones, social media, visuals, and digital spaces, such as WhatsApp included, where conversations are actually moving very quickly and changing minds. So youth bring more than digital skills. When an evaluation shows a problem, youth can help make that problem visible. We bring the ability to translate findings into messages that people can understand and use. We can take a technical finding and make it clear. We can take a pattern in the data and turn it into a visual people can actually grasp. That is where digital skills matter and where we need to invest more as youth in evaluation. This is where I would like to also say that youth can help decide which platforms make sense, what language feels real, and what format will reach people. Digital skills become more than a technical ability. They become a way to make evaluation more visible, more useful, and more connected to action. So for me and for Eval Youth North America, we see that youth add the most value to evaluation by making evidence actually move and travel. This is where we need to continue building our skills and expanding our roles. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Kian. And I see you and other colleagues are provoking a really nice conversation in the chat. I invite everybody as well to respond to this. And what a strong message about the evidence, that the problem is not the lack of evidence. We often have it, but how we can communicate and advocate for evidence. That is really important. And I also really like how you framed the whole, aspect about young and emerging evaluators being active and knowledgeable in their technical skills, and but how to really use that to advocate for evidence and communities. Thanks a lot for that. And yeah, with that, we last but not least, we move to our colleague Rami Assaf, who is co-leader of Eval Youth MENA and evaluation analyst at IFAD. Rami, the floor is yours.
Thank you, dear Khalil, and hi everyone. It is an honor here to be present in this important global event. Thank you. I would like also to thank my fellow colleagues for their valuable point of view. I will speak myself from a MENA point of view, being myself the co-chair of Eval Youth MENA. I'd like to say first that we are a region where over 60% of the population is considered youth. And so the question for us is not whether youth add value to evaluations, but why we have waited so long to ask them to step in. In a way, our world, and especially our region, is complex. And we, the young people, are living these realities in real time, and we're not reading about them in reports nor just watching the news. So in a, let's say, in methodological way, we add most values to evaluations precisely where complexity is highest. We like to call ourselves, if I like to put it between brackets, digital natives or methodologically fluid. And it is exactly these two qualities that give us the flexibility and knowledge to be proactive in face of any complexity. So talking about the example, I would think whether it is through the AI revolution, GIS, any emerging tool and platform, we are the generation most up to date. And crucially, we are less bound by institutional loyalty, which means we question, we test, and we bring a cutting edge that established systems often cannot. And I would like to add, and this is not only about just tools, our value, but it's also about perspective. We in the region, in the MENA region, we sit at the intersection of rapid change and uncertainty. And that position makes us kind of uniquely qualified evaluators of what is working, what is not, and what was never going to work. So in a way, let me conclude this by saying that excluding youth from evaluation is not just a missed opportunity. It is a gap in the evidence. And as evaluations also always anticipates futures or help us shape the future, not just measure the past, youths are not a nice to have. We are kind of a necessity, or we are a necessity. So thank you.
Wonderful, Rami. Thank you so much for these very, very strong points that I can see from the chat is resonating with many colleagues as well, and colleagues sharing about that. And I really like your question about it's not about how we just now we try to integrate youth, but also ask why they were not in the first place. And this is important. And the focus on tools as many always put it, but you also said the values and the perspective, which is very important. And we see it in organizations. And we'll see it today with the champions as well, that organizations that have invested in this, they see real outcomes. And I would dare say impact even. Thank you to all our lightning speech speakers, young and emerging evaluators, leaders who in their organizations and in their own rights, and we appreciate all of you. And I hope that colleagues will reach out to you in the chat, ask questions, share with you, ask and exchange with you, and for this to continue as well. And now, I think I keep looking at my background, and I like the tree growing. You see it's a little bit bigger now. And if the sap is the energy of growth, the trunk is what sustains it. The trunk represents the established leaders and organizations that give the youth in evaluation movement structural integrity, something what, for example, Rami was alluding to, such as the youth in evaluation champions, whose work make meaningful youth engagement in reality year after year or even day after day. Before we celebrate our 2026 champions, I know some of you waiting and wondering who are the champions for this year. A brief word on what the champion status really mean. Youth in Evaluation champions are organizations that have committed to youth in evaluation standards. You know, the youth in evaluation standards, it's a framework defining what meaningful engagement of youth really means, and it is something that Eval for Action has made available to the evaluation community. Because youth were also tired sometimes. We hear from them saying, okay, what does youth engagement mean if it's really not following some standards that we can agree to? And youth had very strong representation in informing that. So each year organizations submit self-assessment against these standards, and they demonstrate what they did really do concretely, adapting these practices not only in principle and in nice documents about youth engagement, but what they have really done. How did they engage and build youth leadership within their teams? How did they produce evidence of change over the past 12 months in their nomination? So the self-assessment process is honest organizational reflection, really, that surfaces what working and how, and if needed, also sometimes organizations are critical of certain aspects and what to improve. And we're very glad in the Eval for Action campaign that youth are taking the lead in this. They are the one who are evaluating organizations, and assessing, against these standards. So the Eval Youth Global Network manages the selection of champions. And to announce the 2026 champions, please welcome our dear colleague Anna Erika Larissa, who is the chair of Eval Youth Global Network and co-leader of Eval for Action, and our dear colleague Sang Duma Sherpa, who leads the Youth in Evaluation Standards reporting at Eval Youth Global Network. So welcome, Erika and Sang, and the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Khalil, and greetings to everyone. Sang and I are incredibly honored and proud to be joining you all here today and to be the ones to have the honors of announcing the 2026 Youth in Evaluation Awards today.
This ceremony marks another milestone towards an evaluation, a field that truly values the voice of the youth and their meaningful engagement. This year, Evaluators took the lead on the selection process, transitioning from a simple self-reporting to the rigorous evidence-based verification.
And as Khalil have mentioned, like this is by youth for youth process in its, in its truest form. This year's selection was conducted entirely by a new task force within Eval Youth of young and emerging evaluators. And in a field like evaluation that values data, we felt that it was vital that our leadership as YEs was matched with a commitment to rigorous and evidence-based selection process.
So our task force verified the concrete data behind every claim. So we received 42 submissions, and out of 42 submissions, we also asked for the supporting evidence, and that are the champions that is qualified for the position. This shift from the self-reporting to the independent verifications ensures that today's recognitions represent real and institutional change.
And so now we are happy to introduce to you this year's Youth and Evaluation Champions. So as we call your organization's name, we request the representatives of each organization to please turn on your video camera, give a wave, and keep your camera on to take a group picture once all of the champions have been called. So please stay on screen and keep smiling until we officially conclude the photo segment.
Yeah, we begin with the 2026 Youth in Evaluation Champion. This organization scores between 75 to 84%, of total scores, demonstrating an outstanding commitment to the standards and providing the evidence to back it up.
So, as we call your name, our champions, please turn on your videos. Without further ado, this is the 2026 Youth and Evaluation Champions.
Malayan Idol Impact Evaluation and Resource Consultancy.
Network of Youth for Sustainable Initiative, Nigeria.
Plan International Nigeria.
UN Human Rights.
University of Custom and Finance, Ukraine.
University of Sri Jayawardenapura, Sri Lanka.
Congratulations to our 2026 champion. Everyone, please stay on, keep your cameras active, and give us your big smile for the group photo.
One more. One. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you. And so to our 2026 Youth and Evaluation Champions, you may now close your videos. And we will now move to announce our Legacy Champions. The Legacy Champions is a category reserved specifically for those who formerly achieved the Super Champion status, scoring 85% or higher in their self-assessment forms and have demonstrated sustained high-level commitment over the years with supporting evidence to back them up.
Notably, this year, every organization that reached the super champion threshold has also proven their long-standing dedication, meaning all our top-tier performers are being honored today as a legacy champion.
And just like in the previous group, we will ask again our organization to turn on your video camera and give a wave as we call onto your names. So here are the 2026 Youth and Evaluation Legacy Champions.
Asia Pacific Evaluation Association.
Clone House, Nigeria.
Lady Irwin College, University of Delhi.
Monev Studio Global.
Mongolian Evaluation Association.
Rocio Nigerian de Suzy at Evaluation.
Tara Savchenko National University of Priyag.
The Ivorian Initiative for Evaluation.
UNFPA Independent Evaluation Office.
Kindly welcome our 2026 Legacy Champions. Everyone on screen, please look directly onto your cameras and prepare for a group photo. Okay.
Yeah, so thank you and congratulations once again to our 15 champion and legacy champion. Your leadership set a great example for the entire evaluation ecosystem.
So before we officially close, please look forward to how the champions are going to be engaged all throughout the year. And we hope you look forward to hearing more about their experiences, especially in the next segment of this session. But we would also, of course, like to thank all the 42 other all of the other organizations, the 42 of them who submitted their self-assessments this year. As we all know, the true change begins with transparency, and by submitting their reports against the youth and evaluation standards, they have truly held themselves accountable for the next generation.
We just would like to request everyone, for those not named a champion today, your willingness to be evaluated is a massive step towards a more inclusive and equitable future for our profession. And here we also want to deeply thank the member of our Evaluate Task Force and in Youth and Evaluation. Thank you for stepping up and dedicating your time and expertise to this rigorous verification process. This would not have been possible without your commitment.
Again, once again, thank you everyone for your partnership, your honesty, and your commitment to youth and evaluation. We look forward to continuing this journey together. Back to you, Khalil, for the next part.
Thank you very much, Erica and Sang, and big thank you to the task force for the great work. And I'm very, very glad to see the champions, and congratulations to all of you for the 2026 Youth in Evaluation Champion Award. And this is last year we did the announcement in Sri Lanka. We were in the summit for the future of evaluation. This time we're doing it online, and in future I hope we'll do it face to face or online in any way to recognize our champions. And I was a young and emerging evaluator, and some of the champions mentioned today, actually this whole movement would not have happened without them. And now I know that you're opening a lot of doors to others for globally and in different regions. So we're very glad about that. And now you can see already with the champions, the tree is getting stronger. It's getting more mature, and the trunk is stronger. So we're very happy about that. And now, yet we have an exciting youth-led conversation because this whole thing is about youth, and we have two colleagues who will lead a conversation with equally amazing colleagues from different regions, leading an exciting youth-led conversation. And so I pass the mic to our colleagues, Mary and Emmanuel, for the youth-led conversation.
Thank you, Khalil. So for the next 25 minutes, we'll have a youth-led roundtable with the champions. Emmanuel Alebe and I, both members of the Value Task Force 4, will put two questions to our 2026 champions. They're pretty difficult questions as well. So joining us at this virtual table are four champions. We're going to have Erdene Chimeg, Uzi Surin, who goes by Chim Chi. She's the founder and president of the Mongolian Evaluation Association. And we'll have Lisa Alba, Associate Program Management Officer, UN Human Rights, Yana Sadiku, PhD student of Taras Shevchenko National University of Kyiv, and Noel Oluku, Director of Operations for Clones House LLC. Welcome, all of you. So I'm going to take the first question, and this conversation is about youth and evaluation. Evaluation often returns to the word tokenism, the gap between naming young people on a roster and giving them a role in how evaluations are designed, conducted, and used. My question is about your organizations, what your organization actually did, not what they intended to do. So the question is, what practical actions did your organization commit to in order to move beyond tokenism and towards meaningful youth engagement in evaluation? And we'll begin with Chim Chi.
Thank you very much, Mary. And I would like to congratulate all the champions, legacy champions, for your remarkable work to support youth in evaluation. So we have 9 board members at Mongolian Evaluation Association, and we last year added 2 more on the previous 2 more. So out of 9, we have 4 young and emerging evaluators representing the youth in evaluation field. And they really innovate, lead, implement the various evaluation capacity building and evaluation system building activities and innovations in Mongolia, such as the World Evaluation Case Competition, Evaluate Mongolia's Initiative on Mentorship Program, and building evaluation, indigenous evaluation with support of APIA and Indigenous Evaluation Ford Foundation. And also last year specifically for building national evaluation system, we have a very great example on promoting two young and emerging evaluators for the Mongolia's first policy evaluation, supported by German Institute for Development Evaluation, also known as DIVAL, for government's food supply and safety policy from the Authority for Government Supervision. So they are official members of the evaluation team from Mongolian Evaluation Association, and they are just like during Hali's questionnaire, the survey, they are really contributing massively to designing stage evaluation, question designing, field collection data. At this moment, we are doing the interviewing government people and visiting companies. So they're just like equally serving as great experience as evaluators as just we are. And so I can see that as long as we provide these young and emerging evaluators with the enabling environment, they do great. And we have to give them to open the doors and hold their hands together. So with that, I think we can multiply this field for our young and emerging evaluators. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Now we're going to move to Lisa. Same question.
Thank you very much. And thank you so much for today's opportunity. Like the evaluation function of the United Nations of High Commissioner for Human Rights, OCHR, has increasingly integrated youth through a comprehensive and intentional approach that goes beyond symbolic participation, which is by, first of all, OCHR management plan, youth as a target population, second as RBM programming manual, currently as a spotlight population, and third, UN Youth Strategy as OCHR implementation and in reporting of youth strategy. Fourth, evaluation policy and guidance as an engagement group and included under the principle of leaving no one behind within the office and in the UN evaluation group. This includes the participation of young evaluators as staff, consultants, UNBs, and interns. Fifth, evaluation TRs and practices. We currently have a separate evaluation criteria assessing gender equality, disability inclusion, human rights integration, and leaving no one behind, with a focus on groups in situation of vulnerability, including youth. An area also promoted in UN evaluation group, working group on human rights and gender equality and youth. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. All right, well, we'll move on to Noel, please.
Hi, Mary, and thank you for having me on the panel today. Congratulations to all the winners. So the biggest practical step we took was to institutionalize youth engagement rather than treat it as an occasional activity. Since 2019, Clones House has sustained a structured pathway for young and emerging evaluators through what began as the Clones House African Internship Program and the Clones House European Internship Program, and has now evolved into the Clones House Global Internship Program. So we made several commitments. I'm just going to talk about 5. First, we involve young evaluators in real evaluation work, not only in training sessions. So they participate in evaluation design, data collection, data cleaning, data analysis, reporting, and dissemination. Secondly, we include young professionals in evaluation proposals and budgets. Now, this is important because meaningful engagement requires resources. Young evaluators should not only be invited into projects, but their roles should be planned, should be budgeted for, and fairly remunerated. Third, we invested in, or we still invest in mentoring and capacity development. Our young evaluators receive technical exposure, coaching, feedback, and opportunities to learn from senior evaluators within the organization and beyond the organization. Fourth, we support professional visibility and networks. So we have created and supported learning opportunities, webinars, knowledge sharing sessions, connections with evaluation networks such as Nigeria, the Nigerian Association of Evaluators, etc., and other partners. Finally, we use partnerships to strengthen the wider youth in evaluation ecosystem. For example, our work has gone beyond internal capacity building to connecting young evaluators with broader professional and national evaluation spaces. So thank you very much. I would say that's what we have done. Practical actions our organizations need to commit to. Move
Excellent.
beyond tokenism.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And so now we'll move to Yana, please.
Yes, thank you very much, Mary. And I would like to express our gratitude on behalf of everyone involved from our organization, from our universities. Thank you very much. And back to question, I would say that in the university context, mindful young engagement start with creating real opportunity for students to develop evaluation-related competence and to apply them in practice. And at our organization, students at different academic level, I mean, bachelor, master, PhD, can choose different courses related to monitoring and evaluation, social research, data analysis, project management, and evaluation-based decision-making. And it helps young students understand not only the technical side of evaluation, but also how evaluation can support better decision at national level. And this is especially important in Ukraine now in the context of war and poly-crisis, where needs are changing very, very, very quickly. And evaluation should help programs and institutions to adapt, of course. Another important point is partnership, where university invest a lot of resources in cooperation with national level organization, project, research initiative, and programs where monitoring and evaluation is an important component, and it gives students and young researchers opportunity to be involved in real case together with academic staff, not only to learn theory in this case. Also, conference, seminars, and exchange create space where young people can share their view, ask critical questions, and see evaluation as a space for dialogue and influence. So for us, I guess moving beyond tokenism means moving from simply teaching students about evaluation to creation opportunity for them to participate in evaluation as young professions and knowledge producers. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Excellent. Thank you. So that was great. Thank you all so much for sharing. So what I'm hearing is that you all are including youth from the beginning. You are partnering with them. You're not bringing youth in as an afterthought or, oh, you know what? We've already made the decisions. So let's just kind of see what they think about it. So what I'm hearing across all four of your organizations is that from the beginning, from decision-making, policy, you're providing the activity internships all the way through, and that is what involving youth and evaluation is all about. So thank you all so much for sharing, and thank you for the wonderful work that you're doing. I am going to hand off the next question to Emmanuel. Emmanuel, the second question is yours.
Thank you, Mary. I'll take the second question. Mary's question asked, what actions did the organization take? Mine asks, what is still in the way? Evaluation as a field carries practices, some of them long-standing, that can sit in tension with a kind of youth-led innovation we say we want. I'd like each of you to name one of those practices specifically, and then say what you think it would take to change it. Which specific traditional evaluation practice do you believe is currently the biggest barrier to youth-led innovation in evaluation? What are your suggestions to overcome them? I'll begin with our first speaker, Yana.
Yes, thank you, Emmanuel, very much. I don't want to speak about bureaucracy because, of course, it's main issue. But for our organization, one of the biggest barrier is the overly expert-centered approach to evaluation. Very often, young people are seen mainly as respondents, for example, or beneficial or sources of data, but not as people who can influence the evaluation process itself and its issue, its problem. The key questions, methods, interpretation, and recommendation are usually shaped by serious experts, donors, professors, or external evaluation. We in our organization, in university context, this can also happen when students are involved only in technical task, and not to create means. For example, students can, or young resources can involve only for collection data or preparation short review, but they do not always have opportunity to influence the evaluation design, questions, or conclusion. In the context of polycrisis, in the context of Ukraine, this is especially limited. Young people have direct lived experience of how crisis affects education, safety, mental health, employment, volunteering, mobility, and civil participation. And this experience should be recognized as valuable knowledge, especially. So for university, that means moving from learning about evaluation to learning through participation in evaluation, because our organization really tried to create space, to create a lot of projects, to create a lot of program that all our students or all our young people can opportunity to be involved in this project and try evaluation process itself. Yeah.
Thank you so much. We move to our second speaker, Noel. The floor is yours. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Emmanuel. So one traditional practice that remains a major barrier is the assumption that credibility in evaluation must always be tied to seniority. So in many evaluation spaces, the most experienced person is automatically seen as the only one who can design, who can interpret, who can lead, while young evaluators are expected to simply support. Now, what this does is that it limits innovation because young evaluators often bring strong digital skills, new ways of engaging communities, fresh perspectives on inclusion, and practical understanding on youth reality. So, but if the evaluation process is too hierarchical, those contributions will remain unused. So what we do at Closehouse is that we try to challenge this by creating structured roles for young evaluators within real assignments. We still value senior technical oversight, but we do not believe oversight should silence younger voices. Instead, the goal is intergenerational collaboration, where senior evaluators bring depth and quality assurance, and then young evaluators bring innovation, they bring the energy, they bring digital fluency and new ways of seeing evidence. Another barrier is treating young engagement as capacity building activity only, rather than as part of evaluation practice itself. So young people should not only be trained outside the project, they should be meaningfully involved inside the project. So that's the answer I'll give. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Noel. And we move to our next speaker, Lisa. The floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and thanks for your question. I do believe a major traditional evaluation practice that acts as a barrier to youth-led innovation is when youth are often treated as a data sources or collectors that rather than co-creator of methodological approaches and knowledge, which restricts their ability to shape evaluation questions, methods, and interpretations. This approach limits creativity and overlooks innovative, context-sensitive methods that youth could introduce, such as digital tools, peer research, or participatory storytelling. To overcome this, evaluation systems should move toward participatory and youth-led approaches. First, organizations should co-design evaluations with youth, involving them from the earliest stages in defining purpose and methodology, both from their perspective as young evaluator and stakeholder. Second, they should invest in building youth capacity through training, coaching, mentorship, and ensuring young evaluators can meaningfully contribute. Third, evaluation process should adopt flexible and mixed methods, including creative and digital approaches that resonate within youth. Finally, institutional policies must shift accountability and decision-making, recognizing youth not just as participant, but the key stakeholder in leading evaluation and its use. This transformation can make evaluation more inclusive, innovative, and impactful. And as OHCHR, we are embarked on this journey and consistent with our mandate to promote and protect human rights for all. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for those insights. We move to our last speaker, Chimge. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So I do not know for other regions and countries, especially in Europe, in the USA, North America, Africa may be different, but in Asian culture, young people are often very looked down because of their age and because they're considered as not serious, maybe no experience, and the traditional views norms are very not so favorable, I would say, towards the youth. Maybe looking youthful, cheerful, healthy person itself might be considered as barrier. So maybe if you are more serious and maybe wearing clothes that are quite serious, maybe then you are superficially more respect. So it is not healthy, I would say, but in a harsh, joking way, yeah. So young, but in my real belief that young people are very bold and they are very free to share innovative ideas and nothing to lose type of attitude. And in the past 4 years with our association, we are like a half of our members of 300 people are young people. So I get to interact with lots of these young spirits and I learn from them a lot and I feel humbled and I cannot be hierarchical at all. Otherwise, we are all volunteers at the end of the day. So we have to be very on an equal foot and respect each other's feelings and how I can support you so that we can do things, we can reach our vision to, professionalize or institutionalize evaluation in our country. So I would say as a more experienced or maybe more older evaluators, we have to be very always ready to share and open the doors about all the opportunities in evaluation to our younger generation and invite them to our evaluation teams. And lastly, I would like to really thank you to UNFPA, Independent Evaluation Office, and Evaluate Global and IOC for this Youth in Evaluation global movement that I think started 3 years ago, because it really created the foundation and the impetus to national purpose such as ours, that 3 years ago, we as a part of this global movement, we launched our first 6-month internship for young people as internship. And within these 3 years, so much things happened. I can witness how our young people who come as interns at the time become now evaluators and joined different international organizations as M&E officers. And 3 years ago, some of the organizations who signed the standards quite skeptical. Now they're asking for young evaluators. Do you have any young evaluators to join this evaluation, that evaluation? So that itself really shows how within these 3 years, because of this global movement and youth in evaluation standards, that also serve as a guiding standards to national bodies such as us and other countries, as really good foundation that we have to be mindful and we have to be true to our words and actions to really always provide these opportunities to young people and to be the connecting and the guiding star to our young next generation, so that I think we all win at the end of the day. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, our dear speakers, for today and for those beautiful insights. So from all our discussions, what I'm hearing across is that evaluation is always expert-driven, and where evaluation as a field is seen as a capacity-building activity for young people. And there is need to engage, as a main recommendation, to engage young and emerging evaluators and young people in evaluation processes right away from the start to the finish. And given the fact that young people are very bold and they're innovative, creative, and they bring in new energy into the field. Thank you so much, our panelists and speakers. Khalid, back to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel, Mary, and all the great panelists. I mean, what a rich conversation. And I think hearing that, I can feel the future is bright. We've heard many important key messages, but you can tell that this is a foundational work, but it's also practical. It is built on principles, but very important consideration for practices. So it is really real commitments, but also actions. So all of this you hear from our colleagues, and it's truly beyond tokenism. I, as the president of IUCE, that is, has a membership of national and regional evaluations globally. I'm aware, for example, of our colleague Shemgi's work, how it is affecting people in her country and in the region. And I know for all colleagues, exactly it's the same. It does make a difference when one organization leads this work. And I also was very happy to see young and emerging evaluators representing their organizations, well-established organization, and they trust them. You see this fact of a trust, and I really love the point also from Joel when you said about structuring in the beginning the young and emerging evaluators' perspectives. That's very, very important, and universities' role as well. So every point, every panelist has added to our understanding of what they're doing. And I'm very glad to see in the chat that people are engaging. So please, for the panelists, we didn't have time for Q&A in this section, but please, if you could attend to the questions our colleagues have posed, that would be great. And I'm sure you'll be happy for them to reach you as well on LinkedIn and ask you a question. And speaking of LinkedIn, I see that it is on fire with the conversation there and posts. And shout out to our colleague, Professor Thomas Archibald. I see that he's following, and I know that he supports young and emerging evaluators as well. And I'm highlighting this because it's all very important that is regionally and globally that there is a strong support for this movement, which is it's very important for us as well. And with that, we now turn to you to have some questions. As said, we are a little bit behind the time, but if you have some questions, please, you could raise your hand. You can write your questions in the chat, but maybe let's try to take 1 or 2 questions for 5 minutes. And I'd really love, actually, instead of reading them in the chat, if a colleague, a brave colleague, will raise hand and ask their question to our panelists or to anybody who spoke so far. That would be great. Looking at the chat and as well as the hands, anybody has a burning question? We would love to hear from you. We heard very good questions in the chat. So just checking. I think the producers can confirm, but I don't see hands. So I will look at the Q&A. Question: how can global evaluation system move beyond youth participation to structurally distribute decision-making power so that young evaluators are not only contributors of evidence but co-authors of what to prioritize, fund, and implement? This our colleague Mihad Mohammed. And I'd like to not answer it myself. I'd like to hear from our leaders and young and emerging evaluators. Anybody would like to take this question? How global evaluation systems move beyond youth participation to structurally distribute decision making and power? Production is telling me if nobody answer for some reason. Okay. Lisa, please, if you like to take this question.
Yeah, of course. Okay. Yeah, sorry, I think some issue. Okay. Yeah. Well, as I mentioned during my speech about how to overcome those obstacles, this all starts by changing or by involving youth from the evaluation policies and evaluation from the first stages. Then we can change from norms and standards to the evaluation policies. And as OHCHR is a great example by involving and integrating youth in every stage and in all the official documents, and then it comes to the reality and to implementation. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks a lot. And also, I will take another question in the chat. I believe it is from Bashir, but I'm going back. Okay. I really like this question because it asks about practically. To be practical, have you measured the impact of your interventions and their relevance to developing, enhancing capacities of young and emerging evaluators? Are there any published sources to prove that or to showcase that and share with others? And this is a really interesting question because as evaluators, how much we are evaluating our work of empowering young and emerging evaluators. And I remember during the time we were working on Eval Youth, one of the first thing we did is the global mentoring program. And after some time, we told, actually at that time, UNFPA Evaluation Office was funding part of Eval Youth work. And we told them we'd like to do evaluation of our work. And they were very supportive of that. So this is something that as Eval Youth, young people, they said, we want to evaluate our work in youth empowerment. But I'm very intrigued to hear if our panelists, our colleagues, anybody who also have similar experience to share with Bashir and other on how do you evaluate systematically or in a good way your work on youth empowerment and engagement. And if you have answer, please raise your hand so I can call your name. Yes, Shimgi, please.
Yeah, I think I just briefly mentioned. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I just briefly mentioned during my previous answer these youth and evaluation standards. I would really encourage all our participants to explore that because it is very systematic and it breaks down how your organization can systematically and very comprehensively empower youth and really meaningfully engage them, involve them, invest them, and maximizing their potential. So it's a great tool. So it has for WOPES, government, international organizations, private sectors. So I think it will serve good for all of us if we want to really sustainably, impactfully engage youth in the evaluation and promote them.
Thank you, Shumi. This is very important point because, what criteria on which we can evaluate the empowerment of young and emerging evaluator and the standards could be a very good way of doing that. And it's especially that for colleagues also to check the standards are customized to different region, to different type of organizations. So that's good. Okay, so with that, I hear my colleagues telling me that we have to move on. So we'd love to still hear from you. Questions again. I would like to hear to see questions in the chat. Ask other colleagues. You have the names of everybody there and on LinkedIn. But now, as the trunk of the tree holds the structure, the tree grows more and it becomes branching out, reaching into new spaces, in new regions, in new conversation. And that's where the youth in evaluation movement and this forum are going next. This is what really excites us. You see the tree is flourishing now. And today is the first day of the Youth in Evaluation Forum, but tomorrow and the day after, the 20th and the 21st, we have 30 events, really intentional events that people worked hard on planning for and organizing for in the different regions and local areas and nations. So regional and national networks will branch out from this inauguration into communities and contexts across the world. And these events will take place in 9 regions and in 9 different languages. So we hope that language will not be a barrier. You see in front of you, today we start with the inauguration and we have regional events tomorrow and after tomorrow. And they are spread to different regions. If we could see the next slide, you will see that we have tomorrow on the 20th events in Asia Pacific, Africa, Europe, North America. On the 21st, after tomorrow, we have South Asia, Europe and Central Asia, Middle East and North Africa, the Caribbean, Latin America. Very interesting topics. Again, people and colleagues work hard on really nice topics. So if I to highlight one, just for the sake of highlighting, from the voice to power, centering youth leadership in shaping Africa's evaluation future. That's a really nice topic. Middle East and North Africa, the Geographic Information System, GIS in evaluation, led by our colleague Rami. And, intergeneration dialogues, so many different topics, very many interesting topics. And this is the regional events, but we also have local events, events organized by national partners and local partners. If we could share it in the next slide, our colleagues. And you see there's host of events, and we're talking about 30 events that is really, we hope that if your time allows, that you attend some of them and to continue this conversation. I see a question in the chat about the recording. It is available because it's on LinkedIn and it also will be shared there. So it's great. And we have the full program for the 30 events online. Our colleague Beckham just has posted it on the chat. You can register from there. And Asella posted also. You can register from there. You can engage in these different activities. But also watch the Eval for Action website because it's really like a good website. For 6 years now, it documents the blogs, events, and all of that. So I invite you to check the website as well. And with that, we move now to the next part. As you can see, we moved from the roots to the sap, from the trunk to the branches. Our tree is flourishing now. It's full grown. A flourishing tree is what happens when each of us and each part of the tree works together. And the realization that the intent is becoming living and breathing ecosystem. Because a tree by itself doesn't work. It needs a system to communicate to and work with. And with that, that's the vision we hold as youth-led future evaluation, where youth truly lead, as our colleagues highlighted in the previous discussion, where institutions enable it because it's so important, and where evaluation work itself becomes regenerative, something that really works well with our ecosystems and our environment, not something so rigid. And to close, please welcome Honorable Kabir Hashim, our dear chair of the Global Parliamentarian Forum for Evaluation and co-lead of Eval for Action. And I know for a long time he's been a very strong supporter of young and emerging evaluators from the start. You were supporting me from the beginning. So the floor is yours, Kabir, and we'd love to hear from you.
Thank you, Khalil. My fellow Eval for Action co-leaders, Joel Renstrom, Director, UNFPA Independent Evaluation Office, Anna Erika Lariza, Chair Eval Youth Global Network, Khalid Bitar, President, International Organization for Cooperation in Evaluation, and dear speakers, participants, and friends. I am truly honored to deliver the closing remarks at the inauguration of the Youth Evaluation Forum on behalf of the Global Parliamentary Forum for Evaluation, which is a co-leader of the Eval for Action campaign. As a co-leader, I'm particularly proud of the great achievements made so far regarding the meaningful engagement of youth in evaluation. It has become a global movement thanks to all our partners and contributors. I would also like to thank Dr. Diane Keita, UNFPA Executive Director, Dr. Philippe Paulier, United Nations Assistant Secretary General for Youth Affairs, for their thoughtful speeches and wishes for the Youth in Evaluation Forum. I am so impressed with our young evaluators who made lightning speeches today. I'm encouraged. Stephen, Nino, Rami, and Kian, thanks for very insightful messages. All of you led the way for the future of evaluation. I also thank Eval Youth Global Network and its Task Force 4 for organizing the Champions Awards, Anna Erika Sangdoma, and the Task Force 4 members. Thanks a lot for the excellent job done, including selection of the champions. My warm congratulations to the 15 youth champions who received awards today. I really enjoyed the roundtable with champions Mary and Emmanuel. Your conversation with Chimji, Yana, Lisa, and Noel was really fruitful and informative. Thanks to all of you for making the conversation great. Evaluation isn't about finding fault. It's about finding a better way. As a policymaker, I have seen lots of young evaluators who have got engaged in evaluation, transforming the responsible evaluations and contributing towards making results better. This is really great to see all of you. And I also thank, finally, Joel, Erika, Khalil for making this event a success. Khalil, your moderation was very impressive. And I thought that if you keep up to it, you will be qualified to be a speaker in Parliament soon. Finally, all our excellent participants, thank you for the time, the interest, and the active engagement. We invite all of you to join forum events in the next 2 days. And as Khalil said, check the programs and join us. Have a nice rest of the day. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable Kabir. It's a pleasure to have you and to hear from you. And we always find you inspiring to this movement. Those closing, insightful reflections are great, and we appreciate them. And on a personal note, I hope all of our colleagues will join me in wishing Kabir a happy birthday today. What a generous way to spend it with us in this forum. We're very glad, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
Happy birthday.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. And before we close, I have an invitation to all of you. If any of you have not yet signed the Youth in Evaluation Manifesto, my colleagues will be posting, or they're posting now in the chat, this manifesto, and also the QR code on the screen in front of you. Please do. It's now available in 20 first languages, thanks to our partners, our colleagues who took the time to translate and engage with it. When you sign, you will receive additionally your Youth in Evaluation badge. So please, if you agree with the Youth Manifesto, to engage with us. And with that, we close the global inauguration of the Youth in Evaluation Forum 2026. Thank you to our speakers for their generosity and insights, and thanks to all of you for being part of this movement and being with us today and attending some of the events tomorrow and after tomorrow. We'll see you across the next 2 days as the branches go further and further to all over the globe. Thank you so much and take care. Bye bye.